Hi, Billy Pauling here with the Pauling Homes team. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about painting. It's very common when I sit down with a seller that I'll advise them to paint a room, maybe even a couple rooms, or sometimes even the exterior of the home. And the reason I do this is to add value to the sale price, increase the sale price, increase the seller's bottom line. It's also very common that when we advise this, our sellers will say, hey, that's great, we want to do it ourselves though to save a little bit of money. And that's great, you can save some money, but we are very cautious about this as well. As an example, when we're showing properties to our buyers and they walk into a room and they see the paint that was designed to go on the wall ending up on the ceiling a little bit, or even the base trim or the window trim or door trim, that really stands out to the buyer. They notice that stuff, and it sends the message to the buyer that, hey, the homeowner here tried to do a quick fix, do it themselves, and they've probably done that throughout the entire house. And what that does then is diminish the value of the home in the eyes of the buyer. So when the seller did all this painting to increase their sale price, if they don't do a great job painting, it actually can hurt their sale price. So today we want to talk to Mike from Twin City Metro Painting. He's going to give us a couple tips and tricks on how to do an effective job painting so that the seller can achieve their overall goal of increasing their sale price and their bottom line.
Hi folks, I'm Mike, the owner of Twin Cities Metro Painting. Basically, we've started off, we've covered the floor like a typical paint job. That's your first step. Next step, to remove all the outlet covers, get those out of the room. We've patched everything, smoothed out any imperfections in the walls. The next step after that, we would want to tape all the woodwork, any casing around the doors, baseboards, any just 90-degree angles that you obviously don't want paint on the woodwork, but you want to paint the wall. It's best just to get a nice tape line. That way it'll give you a nice tape, and then it'll give you some clean paint lines. Start taping. I usually like to start in an inside corner and go from one wall all the way to the other side instead of trying to rip little pieces off. I like to just get one continuous piece as long as I can, and obviously you just want that tape to lay right in the inside corner where that wood meets the wall as much as you can. And then when you get to the other side, I like to run it a little long. Just push it right into the corner, and then that's where that knife comes in handy the first time. If you take that 1-inch knife, push it all the way into the corner real tight, and pull back on the tape, it'll just rip it right, perfect clean line. And the second thing you want to use that knife for is to push it real tight, just flat, tight along that baseboard. And it'll give you a really nice tight seal so the paint doesn't bleed behind there. And then what I also like to do is take the knife at a 90-degree angle and kind of run it in almost behind that baseboard. And what that'll do, if the baseboard's pulled away from the wall a little bit, it'll actually kind of roll that tape behind the baseboard, and it'll give you even a better seal. Alright, so now that we've got the wall taped here, we're ready to paint. That's always a good idea to start with the edging first along the ceiling. Brush around all the edges before you roll. That does make a little bit more uniform paint job. As far as the brushes go, I would always stick to the brand Purdy. And I like a 2.5-inch, the angled sash here instead of the square. I feel like it gives you a little cleaner line. Once you've loaded up your brush, you just kind of want to work all that wet gobby paint off a little bit away from the ceiling. You know, stay down 1 inch or a 1/2 inch or so, and work the paint out in about a 3-foot area. Once the paint's on the wall there, you can kind of start pushing it up towards the ceiling. And you just want to take it real slow. There's typically like a little groove where when they spray that texture up on the ceiling, they take a scraper and run it all the way up, which leaves just a very slight little indentation. You want to kind of just run your bristles right into that indentation. And again, just go slow and don't try to gob your paint up with paint too much. Along the tape, it's important not to, just like along the ceiling, not to run that paint right in there. So I work it out on the wall a little bit first, and then just kind of almost without any pressure, just kind of run it along the tape. You don't need much paint down there. You really don't want to force the paint down in there, because then it starts to force it to bleed behind the tape, and it just kind of gobs up. If the woodwork is pulled away a little bit, it just doesn't look the best. Try to do it as dry as you can down on the baseboards, and then obviously get it on all the outlets, so you don't have to hit those with the roller and in on all the inside corners. And then once you've trimmed out the whole room, then you can go ahead and start rolling. Okay, now we've got the room all edged out, cut in along the edges. We're ready to roll. A couple things with the rollers: stay away from polyester. They leave a little fiber on the wall. It just doesn't look very good. I use a 1/2-inch nap for smooth sheetrock walls is usually great. 1/2-inch nap, and I try to stick to microfiber or lamb's wool if you can find it. Amsoil is great, but a lot of places don't carry it. So a 1/2 inch microfiber roller. I'm typically, as a professional, I use the big 18-inch rollers. Gets the job done a lot faster. Most homeowners probably won't want to spend the money to get this kind of a setup, but a 9-inch roller is the same concept. This is just what I've got today. And when you're rolling, just go ahead and, what I like to do is start and load your roller up and start in the middle of the wall and go all the way from top to bottom or bottom to top and work your way down the wall. Rather than trying to go in different patterns and an end pattern or however a lot of people tell you to do it. Just go all the way from floor to ceiling. That's the easiest way to keep a wet edge and give you the most uniform finish.